Men used to be men. Now you millennial motherfuckers running around worrying about what women think and how they feel and apologizing and shit. It's embarrassing.
Apologizing is embarrassing?
Yes, men don't apologize. That's a trap they set for us. Real men just own their shit.
There is a viral video going around, and it's basically a man who refuses to admit that he just doesn't like women, talking about how men will talk about their day versus how women will talk about their day, and it's a flow chart, and it goes, man, it was fine. And the woman going, oh, well, you know how I saw that person out at the store, remember that person, we went to their party, and blah, 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 making fun of how women communicate, and of course he's doing it in like a very shrill, high-pitched way. Let's have a history lesson and a psychology lesson, my brother in Christ. There was something called the field report back in the day when we were cave women and cave men, and the women were the gatherers and the men were the hunters, and the women would go out and they'd find what was poisonous and what was not, and the pathways and how to get places, and who was dangerous and who wasn't, and we would go back and give the field report with great detail. We were the ones that decided if you guys got murdered when you were out hunting for water buffalo. So the next time you complain about your wife or your significant other giving you too many details, when she stops, it basically means she doesn't care if your ass gets eaten by a water buffalo. Just admit that you're gay and move on with your life.
So y'all saw the Twitter thread, right? You saw it. The one where men were talking about how much they hate their girlfriends. Do you see now why we say when that man switches up his behavior and it seems like, ooh, it feel like you don't like me no more. He stopped doing things he used to do and he started doing something new. And when you ask him about it, he says, why are you tripping? Can I have a day? Blah, 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 blah. Excuses, baby. All that talking, ignore it. Look at what that man is doing. You can feel the energy. You can feel when something has changed. Listen to your woman's intuition, baby, because she's not going to steer you wrong. You can feel when things are not right, and you are going to have to be the one to feel it because they're showing us again that they're not going to do it. Think of how common it is in it's not as common anymore, but in older sitcoms where the men would be married and they call their wives the old ball and chain and all they do is talk about how much they can't stand her and there's the wedding ring, the engagement ring, and then the suffering. Those jokes that last generations are in existence because they are rooted in truth. Men will stay in relationships where they are not happy just for the sake of not being on their own and so that they don't ever have to be the one to speak up and talk about how they feel and take responsibility for their feelings. So they will drag you and drag you and drag you along with them until you decide that you can't take anymore and you leave. That's what he's waiting on, okay? It's no point in us saying, why don't you just tell me how you feel? Why is it up to us? It doesn't matter. The point is, he's not going to tell you how he feels, and it is up to you, okay? Get over the shock of all of that and how unfair it is, and just switch your brain. Don't look at my nail. Switch your brain so that you know when something feels off, it's off. You don't have to ask him for validation. Hey, I know, are you sure? Because I know you said that you really love me, but you just keep acting like you hate me. It's because he hates you, okay? Okay.
Simple. He don't like you. He don't call you. He don't like you. He don't keep his word. He don't like you. He's inconsistent. He has someone else. He only calls you when he wants something. He's using you. He starts random arguments. He's cheating on you. He's not investing in you. You're not worth the investment. Never met his family. You're not the one. Been with your guy 5+ years. No ring. No marriage. He's still searching. You're a placeholder. Men are not complicated. They're very easy to know. Men don't talk with their words. They talk with their actions. Let's go, That Nation. Be smart, date smart, choose wisely. And remember, I told you.
The world would be such a better place if a lot of men just admitted that they're only physically attracted to women and emotionally attracted to their homies. A lot of men will get in front of their homies and degrade and disrespect the woman that they're with while seeking validation from their homies. A lot of men think wanting to conquer a woman's body means that you're attracted to them. And I have some really bad news for you. That's not what that means. That just means that you're physically and sexually attracted to women, but that has nothing to do with you wanting to be with a woman long term. y'all will literally avoid spending time with a woman, having deep, intimate conversations with a woman, and romancing a woman, and then leave after having sex with her and run to your homies and do that exact thing with your homies. Be fucking for real. Y'all get in these predominantly male spaces and y'all try to see who is the least connected to the woman that you're with. I mean, come on. I know I'm giving a word. You know what I'm saying? Amen? Amen. And I know this is going to piss y'all off. And I don't care, of course. Y'all know the vibes. But before y'all get mad at me, I really want y'all to sit down and spend some time looking into what I'm saying and see how true it is. And it's okay. Nobody's mad at you. But yeah, the truth shall set you free.
Men do not have your best interest. Instead of working on themselves and elevating themselves, they would rather ruin you. I was tagged in a video, which it was a joke. It was a skit by a couple of the woman standing in the kitchen being like, the gym is making her look a little too good, making her look like she's out of my league. Pans over to the man. He's like handing her ice cream or high calorie fattening food because he wants her to be less beautiful, because he is threatened by her beauty. And this we see across the board. Men don't feel like enough, and oftentimes men are not enough for the women that they are around. The women around them are settling for less simply because they want proximity to relationship and romance, but these men are okay with that. They want to ruin you. We see this often when a woman is becoming more successful within her career, and then all of a sudden she's pregnant. All of a sudden a man wants to get married. All of a sudden he wants to have kids at the peak of her career. They do this to dismantle you. They do this to knock you down. They do this so that the attention comes off of you and onto them. It is a form of control. There is a reason they are so upset by women choosing to be single and to be child-free, because then in that way, they're not able to control those women.
So unfortunately, right now we live in a society where men are weak. It's why I often talk about masculinity on the show. I'm trying to see what examples men are even following. And I think we all realize now we are facing a crisis. We are facing a crisis of manhood. Not only are men not acting like men in terms of leading their homes responsibly, starting families, making sure that they raise up their children to be strong individuals, but men don't even stand by their words nowadays, right? I remember growing up, my grandfather used to tell me that they could just do deals on a handshake. Well, I'll do this, you'll do that. Shake hands, walk away. And no, just look the man in the eye and know that he meant what he said. You could never do that now. You need contracts, you need lawyers, you need 50,000 pages. And still, if after you've signed a 50,000-page lawsuit, it's likely that he might do something to screw you over, him or her, right? Because nobody means what they say anymore. And that's upsetting.
Oh, do you want to hear another absolutely disgusting secret about men that they definitely do not want you to know? And as usual, this is an absolutely foolproof method, so please pay attention and do not tell anybody that I told you. If you are currently going through a breakup or have ever been through a breakup with a man, I can tell you what his words and actions mean right after the breakup and how that tells you how he actually felt about you. For example, if you guys break up and he says something to you like, I think we should still be friends, or he tries to keep the physical side of the relationship going, this man never loved you the way you actually think he did. If he is incapable of being friends with you, incapable of talking to you, has to block you on all platforms, has to keep no contact, then the man actually loved you. Because there is no man in the history of men who actually has the strength to stay friends with somebody they actually loved the way they said they did.
One thing I'll tell you right now is our society is slowly dying because chivalry is dying. The 80s and 90s love is slowly going away. It's expiring. A lot of men these days, a lot of boys you're dating are not opening the car doors anymore. They're not bringing you flowers nor candy. They didn't make the effort to go purchase you $20 candies or $20 flowers. They didn't open the car door, and as soon as you sit in the car, the saddest thing is they haven't even set up a proper date. They ask you, where would you like to go? How depressing is that? How were you raised? From TikTok? Because my mama raised me right and my father raised me with respect. A lot of you men, doesn't matter anything about her past, doesn't matter anything about her history. You have to treat this woman with respect, because if you had a sister and they treated her like this, like trash, you would be mad, wouldn't you? So imagine taking a female out, a woman, and you don't have a proper date set up. You are not opening car doors. You haven't complimented her. You haven't told her she smells great. She looks good. A woman takes time. They take a lot of effort doing their hair, their makeup. This is no joke. And that makeup is expensive. They spend money to go out with you. You haven't bought seized candy for her. like a box of See's candy for 20 bucks. It took 10 minutes out of your day and buy some roses. They don't have to be expensive roses. You boys disgust me, man. Us men need to step it up. The 80s and 90s love got to come back because these women, they're slowly quitting on love and dating for good.
If there is one thing that I learned from my women and gender studies class that is on my mind 24/7, it's kinkeeping. Kinkeeping is the root of stress in most women's lives, and because they don't know the name for it, they're often called irrational. So I'm gonna give you a little analogy before I explain what it is. Imagine there's a theater and they want to put on a play. They're going to hire not only actors and actresses, but they're going to hire costume designers, people to move the furniture in between scenes, people to move the curtains, people to sell the tickets, to advertise for the show, to show the lights and do the spotlights correctly, people to have the microphones, ushers to have everyone sit in the right spots. There's a lot of effort and time and energy that goes into a play, but at the end of the day, when the play is done, people are not clapping for everything that they did not see. They're clapping for the actors and actresses that they witnessed. In this analogy, the men are the actors and actresses, and the women are the people who go unseen. During the holidays, there's a lot of cooking and cleaning and planning and organizing and wrapping of paper and remembering of dates, but a lot of it goes unnoticed because the whole role of this job is to be invisible and to perform convenience for everyone, to put on a show. You may notice during the holidays there's a lot of women in your kitchen, bonding, talking, but they're also doing work. And it's not only your mom, it's your aunts, your grandma, it's everyone, and they just subconsciously know that your mom needs help, and they create a bonding experience out of it, and that's fine. But if you look at the men, they're sitting at the table talking and laughing and telling stories, relaxing with their feet up, not knowing what time anything starts. You might notice on a road trip, your mom's wondering, did everything get packed? Where is everybody? Has everyone eaten? What time are we getting there? When are we supposed to get there? What was I supposed to bring? And you might notice your dad saying, calm down, why are you being so irrational? Everything's gonna be fine. Stop worrying so much. And it pains me to see this because this man doesn't see all the work that your mother has done because it doesn't have a name. He doesn't know the name. He doesn't know any of the work she's done. Kinkeeping. It's the unpaid labor that women are assigned to subconsciously as a gender. And not only does this cause a lot of stress in women's lives, but it also breeds a lot of ignorance in men. Did your dad plan that vacation? Did he even get the presents underneath the tree that say "from dad" on them? Does he know when your dentist appointment is? Does he know what size pants you wear? If not, who did that? And who took credit? Let me know if you want a part 2.
I remember learning about radical feminist theory and the concept that all heterosexual relationships with men are inherently misogynistic and patriarchal. And at first I thought they were bugging, but what I think is even more bugging now is the idea that that belief is radical. When I first read it, I read it in grad school, I thought it was a little bit extreme, like, ain't no way all heterosexual relationships. But now I'm like, no, like, of course, obviously, misogyny is embedded in our system. We're indoctrinated by it. If women, right, we have internalized misogyny, internalized patriarchal beliefs, why the hell wouldn't men when they benefit from those things? And not just romantic relationships. I mean, romantic, sexual, platonic, familial, co-worker relationships. All of those inherently have a level of misogyny that needs to be unpacked in the same way that white people inherently have some racism that they're gonna have to unpack. But then the question becomes, okay, what do we do with this information? Like, do we never have relationships with men? And valid, but unrealistic, unfortunately. I think a step to making that a little bit less true is that men have to realize that that is an aspect of all of their relationships. Y'all have to realize that you are inherently misogynistic in ways that you cannot even see, and that you're going to have to trust the woman in a relationship with to call that out. You need to acknowledge and accept that as truth. You need to, and not take it personally. The problem is you're always taking it personal. And this could go into a larger video about how we all have inherent indoctrinated problematic beliefs that we need to unpack. Okay, a lot of this shit is not personal, but it affects our personal lives, right? It might not be a personal attack to your person, but it affects your personal relationships and our personal lives. So you need to be fucking for real and realize that's something you need to unpack. And men, if you don't think that you don't have some misogyny that needs to be unpacked, no matter how big or small, ask the women in your life where or how your subconscious misogyny shows up, and I guarantee they're gonna have an answer for you. They're probably gonna have multiple.
A lot of men don't even like women, and it shows. It shows in their opinions, it shows in how they operate, it shows in how they talk with their friends. It shows that a lot of times men just go for women because that is the right thing to do. That is what we are taught up on, but a lot of men don't even really like women because you don't respect them, you don't see their worth, you don't understand them, you don't try to understand them. The only time a black man is able to actually respect a black woman is if it comes from trauma, is if she's putting money on his books, is if she's holding it down. That's the only time he's able to understand her, or if she's crying. But a lot of times when it comes down to black men, they do not really respect black women. They do not really appreciate black women. So you can't really, and I didn't even talk about Shu. Yeah. I'm directing it to him, so you can't really say pick me. Because what it is as a gay black man, and I'm not even sexually attracted to them, I respect them and I honor them and I understand that they make it happen.
But you can't
a lot of y'all thoughts and opinions, y'all do not.
You cannot say that because you don't know the emotional shit that we go through because we actually been in love with women.
Men can actually and categorically ruin your life. So we're sitting down saying,
yes, and a good man can still be bad for you. It is so easy to assume that when we say that men can ruin women's lives, we are only talking about toxic men who disrespect women when that is not true. Good men who have different expectations for relationships than you do, who have morals and values that don't align with yours, who want to live a certain lifestyle that you are not interested in. Those men are also a danger to your life. Which brings me to my next point, which is that having this mindset that all men are trash while still being open to the idea of being in a relationship in the future is doing a disservice to yourself. Because when you meet a man who is a decent human being, it is going to be that much harder to figure out whether you two are actually compatible or if you are just not used to a man treating you with bare minimum respect. And when you add that onto a scarcity mindset, this idea that you need to choose the option in front of you because you do not believe that there is going to be a better fit coming your way, it is not shocking that there are people who are in unhappy relationships despite believing that they chose a good person. Because two things can be true at once. Someone can be a kind, decent human being and still not be the right fit for you. Which is why it is so important to de-center men. Because when you are in this mindset where you are living a life and making a life that is fulfilling for you, you are not going to allow anyone to be your partner because you are going to be comfortable leaving that spot open for the right person instead of just anyone. Your life, your goals, your future are way too important for you to put at permanent risk because you based a decision off of temporary panic and pressure.
Show my love for you.
I've realized that a lot of men don't like women being women anymore. They expect you to work a job, they expect you to split the bills with them, they expect you to raise their children, and then they get mad at you for complaining, for being dramatic, for being overly sensitive. Like, bro, if you're stuck in the closet, just say that. Like, if I went one day without my girl trying to cause some sort of problem or drama or something, honestly, I would think something's fucking wrong. And that's because in a relationship, the man steps more into his masculinity, allowing the woman to step more into her femininity, meaning she creates more problems to give you the opportunity as a man to solve them. So either step up or step out the closet, motherfuckers.
Girl, that man don't like you. He show you every day that he don't like you. You're not a priority in his life. He doesn't take you seriously. When you get mad, he laughs in your face. If a dude likes you, he's doing everything and anything on command. Why? Like, I don't understand. Like, y'all be with dudes that genuinely don't like y'all, and y'all gonna be like, one day he'll change, and he never does. I'm starting to think that y'all girls like not being liked. It's giving daddy issues.
Nowadays, men aren't proper men anymore. And to me, one of the gravest sins a man can commit against a woman is wasting her time. يعني لا أنت جاهز. You're not ready. You're not financially capable. You're not emotionally capable. You're nowhere near ready taking on the responsibility that is caring and protecting a woman. And that's all they seek. It's one of the gravest sins you can commit. Especially that girls are ready. A lot of women are ready. They're like, I want to be married. I want to have children. I want to open a home. And you know that that's what she wants. And you waste her time. I stand by my statement. Most men aren't proper men today. For multiple reasons. They haven't had the proper father figures to show them how to be men. Or society and feminism and social media has completely warped their sense of manhood and their sense of duty and their sense of where their strength is sourced from. And then also religion hasn't been properly taught to them. And if all three are not found within a man, what does he have to do? What can he do? Of course he's going to find himself lost. But I stand by my statement. Most men aren't men today. They don't know what it means to sacrifice. They don't know what it means to be disciplined. They don't know what it means to give your life for what you believe in. They don't know what it means to be an intolerant man, which every man should be. And it's sad. I don't say this with hatred in my heart towards them. I say this with a broken heart because men should be men. And men are beautiful when they are men. And most women who are in their divine feminine in a partnership will tell you, by him being a divine masculine, he's enabled me to blossom into my divine feminine. They don't exist without the other. Let us make that very, very clear. Come after me all you want. They do not exist without the other.
I am so fed up with this new generation of men. They literally don't want to get you no flowers. They don't want to take you on no dates. All they want to do is ask you what you doing all day long and tell you lies. Like, I'm over it.
The most eye-opening thing I ever learned about men was from my college human sexuality class, where the professor told us that men don't actually like women. Not all men. Sure, but hang in. He said that the way that our society socializes boys to, quote, become men is not to tell them how to be men. It's just to teach them how to not be women. Don't cry, be a man. Don't be a pussy, be a man. Don't be weak, be a man. Don't be sensitive, be a man. Don't like those things. Those are girl things. And the tool we use to do that kind of socializing, to steer them away from feminine things, is shame. And you just can't go your whole life being told that the worst thing you could do is be like a woman and expect to actually like women at the end of that. But they are also taught that their sexual attractiveness to women and their ability to get women is a status symbol in front of other men. So they will sexually pursue women, but they don't actually like them as people. This is how patriarchal masculinity socializes men, and why shame, violence, and disgust are so intricately linked.
No man that thinks it's his job to humble me. Don't come around here with that negative energy.
Oh no, because let's get into it, baby. One of the worst men that you will ever entertain in your life is a man who wants to humble you. If he wants to humble you, that means he's jealous of you. You might ask, how is it that a man can be jealous of a woman? He can be jealous of your spirit. He can be jealous of your light. The same thing that drew and attracted him in is going to be the same reason he can reject you, because he can't tame it. Men that want to humble you are just as passive-aggressive as a female that can't stand you, but she wants to be your friend. She wants to play nice in the sandbox. Men who want to humble you are going to try and break your spirit. And not before too long, you're going to notice that light getting less and less bright. Because at the end of the day, he wants to take it from you. And he really wants to harness that shit for himself. See, a lot of people, especially when it comes to dating, men, they're energy vampires. So you might think that it's just as simple as dating, but in actuality, once they attach to you, you're going to slowly find yourself becoming less and less of who you are. This is what happens when you decide to be with someone who wants to humble you, because he's going to go out of his way to make sure that you can't show up like your authentic self. Honey, that will never be favorable for you. So the moment you see a red flag that a man wants to humble you in any capacity, whether it's him being passive aggressive, him taking jabs at the fact that you like to dress up, or maybe you like to appear a certain way, or maybe you have a certain career, a certain level of stability and success, the moment you peep that out, baby, run. Run, please.
Most husbands hate their wives. They do. I danced for 4 years. I stripped for 4 years. I danced from 2011 to 2015.
I know everything there is to know about men, okay? I've never been naive to the bullshit. I found out male nature for what it was at 19 years old. Never been married before, don't want to ever be married, don't ever want to have children. I've just seen too much. I know men too much. My father has also been very honest with me about male nature, and just with him being honest just with his own lifestyle, and just how he operates as a man, and even the men that he surrounds himself around, how they operate. And one thing that I noticed at the strip club is that all the married men would trauma dump on me about their wives, how they weren't attracted to their wives anymore. A lot of them lose attraction for their wives after they have children. They start to feel very neglected after their wife has children, and a lot of them complained about how they their wives let themselves go. They're fat, they're overweight, they don't look as pretty anymore. They bicker a lot, they fight a lot, they nag a lot, they complain a lot. And I think that this is very important information for a lot of women to understand and know, because I just did a video about this, but too many women believe that because their husband hasn't left them, that their husband likes them. And that couldn't be any further than the truth. This is why most of the demographic of, men that are buying escorts and OnlyFans and stuff like that, most of them are married. Most of I always joke around and I always say, there's no man more single than a married man. And the reason why men that are married cheat so much is because they were sold a dream too. They were, through patriarchy, they were sold a dream too. And they were sold the dream that they were going to get all their needs met from one woman. They were going to get their emotional, their sexual, the domestic things taken care of. They were told that they just needed one woman to do that. And then they quickly realized that that's not the case. And we also have to realize that internally, men struggle a lot. Men don't know how to emotionally regulate on their own. They have to have a woman to help them feel comfortable to, emotionally regulate. And so men realize that the vessel can never be filled. The vessel is going to be, it's insatiable. It's insatiable, the need that they have for women and multiple women. And a lot of them don't like their wives. A lot of them don't. Most of them are just tolerating it. They're just tolerating their wife in a marriage because they still get some benefit. They do. They still get some benefit. And also, a lot of men suffer from male character syndrome. A lot of them, they don't want to be the one to bite the bullet to get a divorce because they don't want to be seen as the bad guy. They rather just have the wife file for divorce and be the one that can just take the heat for breaking up the family. But that is one thing that stripping taught me about men, and that's one reason why I would never get married. If you really were to be a fly on the wall with men and their conversations about women and the conversations about their wives, a lot of women would change their tune on how they view marriage, because I can guarantee you that men aren't viewing it the same way as you. Men aren't, they're saying like, oh, I just fell in love with her and like that's the reason. No, like that's just their politically correct answer. That's just the answer that they have to give so that it will be palatable for people. But when the doors are closed, when the mics are off, when the cameras aren't rolling, and they're in a safe space, they're not saying that that's the reason why they even married the woman in the first place. It's because of something that they're benefiting from in some way, shape, or form. It has nothing to do with the actual woman herself. I'm going to make a series of these videos about telling you guys what the strip club has taught me about men, but this is the second video technically of me explaining why and how I know so much about men, and that's the reason why I served men for literally 4 years. I know them very, very well.
The cultural norm where a man buys his free time on his partner's labor, suffering, and some The full quote was, "The cultural norm where a man buys his free time on his partner's labor, suffering, and sometimes the literal destruction of her body is misogyny on steroids." There were a lot of things I found really interesting in Fair Play. One thing that comes to mind is how we talk about men's time as if it is a precious, exhaustible resource, and we talk about women's time as if it is infinite. And quite frankly, if you have an unlimited supply of something, it's not valued as much. I've seen Laura at That Darn Chat talk about this when she says all time is equal, which it is. I've seen Renee from the Mom Room talk about this when she mentions that when her husband gets home from work, her expectation is that he does housework. And whenever they or other creators post videos like that, a bunch of men show up and say, "I worked all day, you should do it." I would take this a step further and say it's not just misogynistic, it's abusive, it's harmful, it's destructive. Making someone work or be on call 168 hours a week because you went out and worked your 40, that's not laziness, that is active harm. Rather than split the check for the cost of free time for both of you, you let her pick up the bill so you can have it all to yourself. I'm hard-pressed to think of something more selfish.
A man in his feminine energy will display these traits. Number 1, he's unmotivated. He's very casual in the way that he operates, free-flowing, and likes to go with the flow. That is feminine energy. Number 2, he's indecisive. He doesn't like to make decisions, very rarely, if ever, makes plans, never puts anything in the diary spontaneously to surprise you, and he likes you to confirm all of the decisions. That is feminine energy. Number 3, he's unpredictable. 1 minute he's on it, doing the thing that he loves to do. A couple of days later, he sacked it off and reverted back to how he was before. He changes his mind like the wind. He doesn't really know what he wants. He doesn't really know where he's going. And he's just completely unpredictable in the man that you're going to get each and every day. That is feminine energy. And number 4, his emotions lead him. He doesn't lead his emotions. If he feels something, he reacts to it. And he plays out his life through a reactive manner. His emotions guide everything. There's no space between him feeling an emotion and responding and making a decision. His emotions rule him. That is feminine energy. Now, whilst feminine energy within a man is not always a bad thing, if he's unable to realise when he's in a masculine or a feminine state, he will constantly force his wife to be masculine. She doesn't want to be there. Not all the time anyway. And so by him not breaking the pattern, not breaking the cycle, not balancing out the masculine with the feminine, he'll force his wife to be masculine all the time. And if she doesn't want to be there and he don't want to be in his feminine, it depolarizes the relationship. What does that mean? You fall out. You're not attracted to each other. The relationship becomes stale. There's no spark about you being together. It's depolarization. Because the man's in a feminine, makes his wife masculine.
And this is the reason why a lot of men end up marrying somebody who's a maid but not a friend.
Bro, I'm gonna throw some your way, and I want you to answer that.
This is the reason why she's washing your clothes. She's doing everything that you want her to do, but you don't want to talk to her. She easily irritates you because you don't even like her.
That's what I want to get to. Thank you for going there.
You don't even like her.
Bro, I've talked to several married men who told me that they don't like their wives. I asked them, well, are you at least friends with your wife? They're like, friends?
I bet they do. I bet they do everything for them, though. They do everything for them, though.
Can I say something?
You make enough money to marry a maid. I mean, to hire a maid. I mean, and then marry a friend, right?
Wow.
If you want, if that's what you want, and so what you really want is somebody to cater to your egos
and your brokenness.
Your brokenness.
Yeah.
Because you didn't get that to Jesus.
Woo. Go ahead. Go, sis.
Can I say something? I have thought it a bit interesting that it does seem like some men enjoy men more than they enjoy women, but they marry women because they're supposed to, but their affections, their time, their energy, their vulnerability is giving space for men more than so.
A lot of men like women, but they don't like feminine energy. Because feminine energy leans on masculine energy, and you need to be masculine to be able to deal with that shit. Because let's think about it. At the surface, a woman is very playful. She's very intuitive. She's very empathetic. There's so many things to love about a woman at the surface. But after all of those things, she then goes to being vulnerable. and then she surrenders, and then she leans on the man. She then depends on the man. She then becomes insecure about her man. She then becomes emotional about her man, and those are all qualities that a real masculine man should be able to deal with. Because when you masculine, you don't mind communicating because you're ambitious, and when you're ambitious, you're goal driven, you're action driven, you're doing driven. So if you have real ambition towards taking care of the woman that's around you, that ain't shit. That ain't nothing but another challenge. But masculinity is confused as being these big dog, macho man ass people. No, masculine energy is all predicated on feminine energy. And if you can't deal with feminine energy, then you're not really that masculine. Masculine ain't no macho man shit. It's being able to be the problem solver for all of the problems that the feminine have. And that's what the feminine energy is, being the problem solver for all of the problems that the masculine have. So it goes hand in hand. But I do feel like there's a lot of lust attached towards women rather than love attached to women, because if there was real love there, then you wouldn't have no issue dealing with a woman's qualities when she really taps into them. So if you don't like feminine energy, then you're just not masculine. And that's just the way that I see it.
I think, in my opinion, a lot of times I see men try to humble women, especially women that they're with.
Yeah, that's strange.
Even women that they not with, women on the internet. I think that when a man at a certain level and he feel like a woman is either she's above him in whatever regard, whether she making more money than him, whether he might feel like she's more attractive or can attract a better man, whatever. Even if she not above him and he just feel like she can do better, he try to like humble her to like keep her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want you to know how cold you is before you get to looking at these other niggas and they come take you from me. So I'm gonna make you feel like you ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of niggas be on that type of time. For sure. You got something else for me?
That was okay. Yeah, I do. Okay, so
you should have a lot more for me.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Your building is on fire. Which two are you saving? Your kid, your wife, or your mom, and why?
As much as I didn't want to believe this, I'm starting to really believe that these new generation of men, they hate women. And the reason why I'm saying this, man, is because these women have sacrificed so much and they've compromised so much to the point where they're saying you don't even have to have money. You don't even have to personally be their type as far as looks. All they want you to do is be able to provide the things that are free: honesty, loyalty, respect, time, affection, attentiveness. Like, they want all of the things that are free, and y'all can't even give that to them. Are you serious? They put everything aside. Women are out here even marrying men. They are proposing to men. And y'all can't even give them the things that are free, a listening ear. Y'all don't even make them feel protected. Y'all don't make them feel safe. Y'all can't even make them feel appreciated. Do you know that appreciation is free? Do you know that support is free? Do you know that loyalty is free? Do you know that respect is free? Do you know that making them feel desirable is free? Y'all can't even do the things that are free? Do you even like women? Do you even love women? Do you really want to marry women? Like, I hate to say it. Like, I take up for us often, man, but it's scary. Do y'all actually hate women?
My son just fell in the store and hurt himself and he began to cry. He said it hurt really bad. And then out of nowhere, a man appeared to give his unsolicited advice. At first, I was terrified because nobody asked for it. He told my son to toughen up, that he wasn't in pain and that boys don't cry. What I wanted to do was take that watermelon and shove it inside of his ass until it came out of his mother. But I didn't do that. I explained to him that a lot of men don't know how to express their emotions now because they were forced to suppress it at a young age. I also explained to him that toxic masculinity doesn't make you more of a man, but more so of an ass that everybody hates, but people just kind of tolerate. The sad reality is that some people aren't raising up little boys. They're raising robots, machines, or little soldiers that can help fight the demons in their hell-filled homes. But over here, little boys are human beings and we're allowed to express ourselves. Listen, if you're bored, you could play Sudoku, you could play the lotto, you could play with your Please stop playing with my motherfucking kids. Okay.